Hi, I'm Rupert and I'm here to introduce the concept of using a password manager and explain how it can save you time, money and stress. So I'm going to start with a question today. How many phone numbers can you remember? Do you remember 1, 5, 10, maybe more than that? Do you ever forget them or mix them up? You've probably got a system in place. You may be old school and use a filofax or something, but more likely than not in this day and age, you rely on your mobile phone, the address book in your mobile phone, to store all of the contacts for the people that you regularly or irregularly call, those once in a while ones, and also the ones that you call on a daily, weekly basis. So my question would be, why do we treat passwords differently? Is there an equivalent to having that central store of information, probably carried around with us in our pocket, where we can save all of the passwords that we need to use? Again, maybe we're using them every day, or maybe they're the ones that we only log into once in a while. And that's exactly what a password manager does for us. So what is a password manager? I refer to it as a secure location to store passwords and confidential information. It's a simple concept really. You use one really strong password every time you log into the computer, and then that in turn unlocks access to everything else that you need. There's a number of password managers out there and they all have the same kind of core feature set these days. They allow password generation, which allows you to create random complex passwords instantly and then offer to save them for you. Autofill is where one of the time-saving things really kicks in. It'll actually take you to a website, such as Amazon, for example, as we'll see later, and it will log you it straight in there. So you're not having to hunt around, go to the website manually and so on. And typically password managers these days are cloud-based, so they're accessible from any device that you're using, because most of us aren't just accessing the internet or websites from a single computer in the office anymore. So one of the questions that we quite rightly get asked is, how secure is it? So I'd like to compare kind of an offline and online solution here. So offline solution, such as your old school password book, I'd grant you it's likely to be unhackable, but I also suggest it's likely to be very easy to lose or to be stolen if there was a robbery or a break-in, for example. I'd also fathom a guess that it's likely to be within arm's reach of the computer chair in your home or office. So security is a real consideration from that. If we look at an online password manager, a digital solution, for example, the data in there is going to be encrypted. It's going to be backed up or easy to back up. It's likely to be accessible from multiple devices these days. As with anything, there is a trade-off when it comes to the compromise between security and convenience. Now, because of that, I'd always recommend we use a strong master password or passphrase even. That's 12 or more characters. Yes, complex at that stage as well. I did do, there is another video in this series titled How to Create Secure Passwords You Can Actually Remember that may be a help in that situation, because your single master password is really the keys to your kingdom here. So you've got to make it secure but memorable as well. I'd also strongly recommend that anything worth saving, anything that's saving your passwords these days should be protected by multi-factor authentication. That requires a second step to get into it, so it's not just your password but something else as well. And again, there's another video in this series explaining what multi-factor authentication is and giving some examples of just how easy it is to use. A lot of the password managers these days can also do more security things like IP restrictions. So for example, for my password vault, you can only log into it from a UK IP address. And what that means is there's no business for anybody in China to be logging into my password system. So let's just lock out 98% of the world immediately and prevent them from being able to log in. It's not foolproof, but again, it's a nice extra step. Lastly, going back to the security versus convenience thing, a password manager has to be really easy for you to use. It needs to be part of your day-to-day workflow. You need to just consider it part of your system, part of your process. And equally, when we are sometimes frustratingly required to change passwords, it needs to be really easy and really intuitive to update that password as well in the system. Otherwise, you just won't use it. So these days, a password manager is far more likely to look like that address book earlier. There's a quick screenshot on the screen of one we use called Keeper Security, and as you can see, you've just got some icons for the websites that you're likely to access. So in this example, we're just going to take Amazon, and if I was in my password manager here, I can just click on the Amazon logo there as I see it on the screen. It'll take me to the website and it'll actually log me in as well. So here I am on the Amazon login screen, and if I click on the little icon there, press the login button, then it'll automatically populate my username and password for me. I didn't need to see them, I didn't need to even know what they are. You can share passwords quite often with team members without giving them visibility of the password, but give them the ability to use it. So a question we get asked quite often is, doesn't my browser do that for me these days? Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Safari, whatever you're using, they've all got inbuilt password managers these days to try and do that exact thing. Well, firstly, as an IT technician, I wouldn't recommend that you use your browsers for saving passwords. Firstly, they're the first place I'd look, or a hacker would look if your computer was compromised and I was looking to see where else I could access now I've got into your computer. I don't know if you've ever been through the experience where you've switched computers and you've lost all your passwords because you didn't know what they were, but you typed them in once and your old computer remembered them. And maybe it's died and we can't physically migrate that data across to you. Or maybe you experience the stress of logging in from multiple devices. The computer at work knows what the password is, but the one on your tablet or your home computer just won't let you in. Now you've got to reset it, and then you know that next time you go back in and use the work computer again, it's not going to work and you're going to have to update it there as well. And all of this adds to the stress of dealing with passwords, which can be mitigated using a password manager. We recommend a single, central, secure location to save and access passwords. And in fact, once you've got one, it's great because it becomes the only acceptable location to store passwords, either individually or within a business. It's the one place I go to for passwords. If it's not in the password manager, I don't know, I haven't saved it anywhere else. It's the only place it will be. And if it's not there, I'm going to have to reset it or come up with another way of getting in, and then make sure it's in my password manager for next time. Otherwise, it's going to frustrate me next time I need to log into the same service. So how does a password manager actually save us money? There is a cost to password managers. They do cost kind of a few pounds, a few dollars per user per month. I guarantee that's a fraction of your overall payroll costs. But at the same time, there is a cost to them. I would typically avoid any kind of free password managers that are out there. There's a saying these days that if you're not paying for a product, then you are the product. And when it comes to cybersecurity, that's really not a great position to be in. Going back to your saving money once you've invested in a password manager, I'd expect there to be a direct increase in staff productivity within your company. Password managers are really easy to use. As I mentioned, you log in first thing in the morning, at 9 o'clock effectively, when you get to your computer. And imagine, once you've logged in once to the computer, once to the password manager, securely using your multi-factor authentication, 2 minutes tops, you've now got links and you can click on and gain access to any of the other websites or services that you're likely to need for the rest of that day, the rest of that computer session, effectively. So no more faffing around, no more messing around with passwords and looking them up and asking colleagues and all that sort of thing. It provides a clear company policy and standards to dealing with passwords, which most small businesses in particular are frankly a little bit weak on. And it allows you to share passwords amongst the team, but without giving them the ability to view them or so on. So for example, if you've got a new member of the marketing team, wouldn't it be great if the first morning they sat at their desk and logged into the new password manager, they automatically had access to all of the shared marketing resources, just like files and folders on your server, but from a passwords point of view, they could log into Twitter, into Facebook, into Hootsuite, into your CRM, into MailChimp straight away, just because you've added them to the marketing department. So you can share passwords, passwords can either be on a per user basis or shared within a specific group if needed within the business. There's company benefits as well to password management. I referred a minute ago to the efficient onboarding of staff. Let's not forget the other end of that process, which is often offboarding staff. Now, a lot of people move on very nicely for career progression or so on, no problems at all. But there are times from an IT business owner perspective where it's a little bit less pleasant, shall we say. And it's really important at that point that we can swiftly and efficiently stop access to all of the company resources. There's a direct cost of managing passwords in a business. Either you're managing themselves and wasting time, or you're outsourcing it, or even with internal IT, a significant amount of IT time is spent on password management. Anything we can do to reduce that just increases the efficiency of the business. And lastly, wouldn't it be nice if there was an audit log of which sites have been accessed and by whom, both from a security point of view, a training point of view, but also potentially offboarding if a member of staff has left a particular team, and we need to be able to see what they had visibility to and go through and close the accounts, update the passwords or whatever we deem appropriate based on the situation. This isn't scare tactics. I'm not harping on here about the cost of an actual security incident. Those are just the day-to-day benefits. But we all know that security incidents can run into thousands, tens of thousands of pounds very, very easily. So anything we can do to promote good cyber hygiene, password hygiene within a business is likely to reduce the likelihood of your business being impacted by a security incident. So the purpose of these videos is to take action. The first step I'd take at this stage would actually be to reach out to your IT support team, whether that's internal or external company you're working with. The reason for that is they may already have a password manager in place that they know how to use, they know how to support, it's easy to deploy. There may be other people in your team that are using something, it just hasn't been rolled out to the whole team yet. So I'd absolutely start with that. Having it professionally implemented for you is likely to be the best step forwards, if it's available to you. If that's not a case, then if you're a business owner or manager, I'd strongly encourage you to get a demo or a trial and start using it yourself. The best time to have implemented a password manager would have been a month ago, because you'd then be over the hurdle, you'd be over the curve, and you'd just be getting the benefits out of it every day. But the second best time to implement it is today, now. So go and start finding one. There's a link on the page that I've linked to below. There's a number of resources for examples of password managers. They're very much a personal thing. You might find one that you relate to, get on with a little bit better than others, but I've listed 3 for you to get started with. So go away, have a look at them. They're all free to get started with in a trial mode point of view. And in my experience, the business owners and managers, the most important people, the most targeted people in a business, are often the ones with poor password management or poor password usage themselves. So this really is one of those areas where adoption starts at the top. We need you as the owners, managers, to be doing it properly, and for you to benefit, experience the benefits yourself of using a password manager, to get behind the concept, see what it can really do for you and your team. So I really hope you found today's video useful. Please do share it with anyone else that you think might benefit from understanding a little bit more about a password manager, what it can do for you. Please do click subscribe to view these videos and receive notifications when any others are posted, and you can keep an eye on the progress at the website below, netprimates.com/tips. Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you again soon.